Hello, my name's Gabriel and I have what they call schizophrenia. Today's video is going to be a bit of a ramble about random topics. So, pretty much, I've been doing most of my channel is videos about schizophrenia. That's the main thing about this channel, is it is about schizophrenia. But I also know that there's people out there with schizophrenia who want to hear things other than schizophrenia from a person who has schizophrenia, if that makes sense. So I'm going to be doing random videos here and there, just talking. Doesn't really have to have a specific direction of topic, but it's going to be a bit of a ramble. I'm going to have a lot of these videos, but I'm also still going to be obviously making videos about the schizophrenia itself. So, yeah, I told you already in my last two videos, I believe, that I'm making 2 albums. So I won't get too much into that because you already know. I want to say how weird it is how fast time travels. I mean, time started speeding up for me when I hit age 20. So the beginning of 2019, time started to speed up. And obviously it's 2021 now, so it's almost 2022, so it's been almost 3 years. And I'm 22 years old. But it seems like time's just going faster and faster. And I don't know if it's because of my age or if it's something to do with the universe. I'm thinking it's because of my age. But yeah, I can only imagine, like, in 10 years, today is going to feel like it was just yesterday. And that's what I feel when I look back into the past. I feel a lot of emotions, because it's like time just keeps on slipping away. But yeah, so I haven't been up too much really. Today's day 6 without smoking. Like I might have told you that I quit smoking. I'm on the patches. Still on the patches, obviously. Day 6 without smoking today. Tomorrow's day 7. I feel great. I don't feel anything really bad. And if there's anybody out there who wants to quit smoking but feels like they can't, trust me, you can. I know it seems we tend to lie to ourselves. We lie to ourselves and tell ourselves that it's hard to stop. But once you make that decision, you can go cold turkey. It'll be a lot harder, but it's doable. Many people have done it. Never give up. But with the patches, it's actually been really, really easy. And I told myself, for ages I told myself I'm schizophrenic. I'll never be able to quit. But that's just an excuse that I made for myself without realizing, as a safety mechanism to allow myself to continue smoking, because we get safe with our habits. So yeah, day 6 without smoking. I got the patch on. Patches are expensive, but I'd much rather pay for the patch than have to sacrifice my health. So day 1 without smoking was weird, because the carbon dioxide leaves your brain and gets replaced with more oxygen. So you get this oxygen high, and it might be uncomfortable or it might be fun. It depends on the way you look at it. But I got a kind of uncomfortable feeling, and when you first go to bed on the first day without smoking, it's a bit tricky because, well, it's just a bit uncomfortable because you hadn't smoked today. But once you get past that one night and you fall asleep, you wake up feeling really good, because oxygen regulates your moods, it regulates your sleep patterns. So when you go to sleep with all that oxygen, you get a really deep sleep, and when you wake up, you might feel a bit weird, but you'll actually feel a lot better at the same time. And within a couple of days, you adapt to it, and it's almost like you never quit, even though you did quit. So you're still the same person. A bit of your personality might change. You're going to be less agitated. You're going to have more focus. But yeah, after a couple of days, you adapt to the oxygen levels. And you feel like yourself, but you feel like a healthier version of yourself. And that I found really cool. So I'm happy I made that decision. But yeah. So lately I've been keeping myself entertained. Mainly watching YouTube. At night, what I do usually is I'll put on Netflix. I've been watching Steinfeld, I think it's called. Or Seinfeld, not Steinfeld. It's the guy with Jerry Seinfeld in it. It's an older show, I think a show of the 90s. It's not really my style all the time, but it's good to have on in the background, I guess. So that's pretty much what I do throughout the day. I wake up in the morning, I make my coffee. Right here. Well, this isn't what I made this morning. I bought this at a store. But yeah. I've been noticing lately, like I used to drink 6 coffees a day. But I've been noticing I can only handle 2 now. Once I pass 2, I start feeling sick. I get sick, nausea, I get headaches. It's really weird. So I've had to cut down my caffeine intake. And I'm gaining a bit of weight. That's something I have to work on. Because for a few months there, I was getting like takeout at least 3 times a week. But that's because I was on a med called Invega. And that makes you really hungry. And yeah, it's a disgusting truth about Invega. But I mean, whatever, I'm off of that now. Right now I'm on Seroquel and clozapine. Those are the 2 meds I'm on. I take them at bedtime. I'm hoping one day there'll be we'll find a cure for schizophrenia and stuff like that. I mean, there already is a cure out there. It's just we're not allowed to have it, I think. Probably the Amazon rainforest. There's probably all sorts of plants out there that could heal us. But we're stuck with the pharmaceutical drugs, which sucks. But the way I look at it, it's better than being on a different planet. Because being in psychosis is not fun. Yeah, when you're in psychosis, things are either really good or really bad. And usually what happens in your darkest psychosis is you go through this one, you come off the meds or whatever, maybe you're not on meds to begin with, but you go through this one day where it feels like you're awakening, and it's very emotionally empowering, and you get addicted to that feeling of the awakening, and you think over it over and over and over and over again, to the point where you alter the actual meaning, and it becomes a delusion. And then that delusion becomes really dangerous. And we gain so much confidence in ourselves. We think everything we imagine is real because we're some high being. And it's not that, like, what's actually happening is you're giving yourself so much confidence in the fact that you're a super high being that suddenly you believe everything you imagine is real. So if you imagine something bad, you believe that's real. And then that's when the nightmare starts. That's what I've learned. You got to be very, very careful with what you're doing because every psychosis is going to be different from the last. You're never going to have two of the same psychoses. I mean, you might, but you never know what could be your next psychosis. So you have to be careful with what you're doing. But as long as you're on the right meds, you probably won't go through another psychosis. But it would be awesome if there was a way to deal with psychosis without having to take meds, but we're not at that stage right now in the universe. But yeah, I'm excited to release those 2 albums. Like I said, one's a mixtape. You've probably already heard me say it. But yeah, the thing with the music recorder I bought for mixing and mastering and recording guitar and piano. It has a few glitches on it. And those, it keeps turning itself off for some reason. I will be right back. I'm starting to feel nauseous. Alright, I'm back. I had to take a heartburn pill. So, what I've been noticing is my pills, I've had heartburn for a couple years now. It's like where you get this burning feeling in your gut. And it makes you feel like you want to throw up, to be honest. But that's one of the downsides to certain meds. They basically, if you don't already know, heartburn is when your acid levels rise in your stomach. And it kind of burns your chest and stuff a bit. It's not dangerous, but it's really uncomfortable. So if any of you are experiencing that, it's really acidic foods that cause it, like salt and vinegar, chips, pickles, anything vinegary or even spicy can really trigger your heartburn. So that's just something I have to deal with pretty much every day at certain times. But I have pills for it, so it kind of lowers the acidity and then it stops hurting and my heartburn goes away. But yeah, my day-to-day life, something I enjoy doing actually is traveling. But I've learned not to travel. I've learned not to travel. I learned not to make plans to travel months ahead. I'd rather book a ticket and be flying out a few days later or catching a bus a few days later. And the reason why is because when I booked my ticket to Calgary, Alberta, it was booked for a month and a half later. And that whole month and a half, I was worrying, what if my mental health gets unwell and I don't catch the plane? What if this happens? What if that happens? What if it's a waste of money? And the reason I was worrying about that is because I thought something was going to prevent me from going. So I spent a month and a half worrying. But then luckily nothing bad happened and I went, got the flight, flew out there. And then it was the same kind of thing when I was waiting to fly back here. But I caught the flight again. But I've learned to only book things in a few days in advance. That's what I've learned to do because I don't want to overthink things. And I'm not the kind of guy to plan for months about a trip. I'm the kind of guy who would just book it and be going in 3 days. I mean, it doesn't take 3 months to plan out what you're going to do. But yeah, when I'm not traveling, my day-to-day life is pretty much I just wake up in the morning. I have a coffee and watch YouTube, TV. I should be getting out a lot more though, to be honest with you. But I haven't really been doing that too much. But I should be. But I live in a really boring town, North Bay, Ontario. North Bay is the town, Ontario is the province. Yeah, there's not much to do here. When I was in Calgary, I'd go to coffee shops and sit there for a good half hour by myself and drink coffee, or I'd go shopping at crystal stores because if you don't already know, I'm a fan of crystals. And yeah, that's pretty much what I did when I was away from my hometown. I went out more because it was new and exciting. So I actually had plans to stay in Calgary, but so I stayed at my sister's for a week, found an apartment, moved into that apartment, stayed at that apartment for a month and abandoned it and flew home. And the reason I did that is because the air quality was really bad. There was forest fire smoke coming into the city. So I booked a ticket to get home and I returned. But yeah. So, not sure if there's much more to talk about today. So we talked about traveling, a tiny bit about the music, my day-to-day life. But yeah, I try not to play too much games either, because I find when I play like the PS4 or whatever, I get motion sickness. And I literally have to take gravel to like stop the motion sickness. Sorry if I cough a lot. Just because I quit smoking, so I can feel like my throat hair is growing back. It makes me want to cough. But yeah, life can still be very enjoyable even if you have schizophrenia. Never be afraid of your schizophrenia, but always seek the help you need when you're in psychosis. When I was in psychosis, I thought it was some supernatural thing that was happening to me. And it really took a few YouTube videos for me to remind myself that I was in psychosis. And that's what saved me. So that's what I dedicate this channel to, is helping people with schizophrenia or who are going through psychosis. And I hope it helps. You can check out my older videos where I talk about the actual story of how my psychosis started. I believe I have both psychoses in that video, my very first video on this channel. But yeah, things I like to do. I like to make music. I like to make YouTube videos for you guys. And what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I like to travel. Music, YouTube videos, and traveling. And yeah, really enjoy those three things. I'm not a rich man. Well, I believe that anyone who's alive is technically rich because life is a blessing. But money-wise, I'm not rich. But I'm still able to enjoy myself and go places here and there and live a productive life in the way that I feel is productive for myself. You know, I'm not the type of person to go out and get a job. It's just not me. I mean, maybe if I were to get a job, which I did in the past, I worked at a pizza place. You might have saw that video. I got fired. And I decided after getting fired that I was thankful I got fired because I didn't actually like working there. And I don't think working for someone else is my cup of tea, so I was happy to get fired. But yeah, that's about it for this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you liked it. If you did, let me know. Subscribe for more if you want. If you dislike it, that's okay. If you have any questions, also let me know. And thank you. My name is Gabriel, and I have what they call schizophrenia. I will see you in another video. Thank you.